Armored Core VI. Damn, have you ever heard of a better name than that? The VI could stand for anything, and that's part of what makes this game one of the most enjoyable experiences of my life. I'm Garrhy Boldpenis, and this is Tea and a Jug. When my friend Steven and I were 8 years old, we loved robots. And so when we heard about Armored Core VI, we knew immediately this was our vibe. It's very cyber.
Welcome.
I asked Steven what he thought the VI stands for, and he said 6, which is just the kind of humor he likes. I think it probably stands for Volatile Incantation, or Victory Interest, or Virtual Insanity, like the Jamiroquai song. The one with the hat and the floor. And so, with hats donned, my wife and I took a seat on the floor of Steven's room to watch him boot up his fragging box and jack in to a cyber world beyond my wildest dreams. Let's start by talking about the story. Steven says there is no story, but I think he's wrong, because your character is a small man who gets inside of a large robot. This is something I've always wanted to do, because if I could, I would be very large, and Steven would fear me. Steven does not currently fear me, and says that my custom robot names are bad. But tell me, dear viewer, if you were out on your nightly stroll and encountered a large metal man who introduced himself as Bloodsmear Goatsbane, would you simply smile and shrug? Or would you roast your dog on a spit for him in exchange for your life? I think I know the answer. I asked Steven what the name of his robot is, but he always blocks the screen with his hand and refuses to tell me. I think it's probably Sword Goblin, or Laser Tinkerer, or Jamiroquai, because he likes the hats. Aww. Anyway, there's a planet in this game, which is a pretty cool thing to learn up front. Parts of it are snowy, and other parts of it are not, which almost makes it feel like 2 planets. Which is a lot for a game. I played another game that had 3 planets once, but it wasn't as good as this game. The terrain in this one is mostly barren landscapes and blown up factories and stuff, but you can tell there was a lot of technology there before it exploded. My wife's favorite part of the game is the coral. Now, I know that coral sounds like it's just weird rocks that live in the ocean, but actually, it's very cyber and mysterious. My wife loves a good mystery. That's why she's always reading books. Anyway, coral is like this cool energy rock in the game, and you have to fight robots to make sure they can't get it. The name of your small man in the game is Raven, which is a name I do not like, due to its resemblance to the name of a dark bird. When I was a child in Missouri, a nefarious bird would perch outside my window, staring endlessly at the meatiest parts of my child body. Like its namesake, your character is very bad. He wants to make as much money as possible while destroying the lives of many people who are poor. I like this a lot because in real life I am good, but in the game I am allowed to let loose my most depraved behavior, which my wife finds very attractive.
Weapon charged.
I haven't made it very far yet because Steven only allows me to play when he uses the restroom or when he's boiling a hog in the kitchen. The first boss is called HC Helicopter, which again reminds me of birds, but cyber. I think the HC stands for Hellchild, but I haven't thought about it much. I'm too busy trying to figure out his pattern so that I can deny him what he most desires. He hungers for the rock, but I will not sate him. Each time I die, I rise stronger and more cyber than ever. My wife said she found a cheat on Reddit, but I told her I'm not that kind of gamer. I'm like a gamer, yes, but I'm also like a cat. I like to play with my prey before I die.
Meow.
Sometimes I like to hide from the boss behind a dark building or a destroyed box and pop up and wiggle to him just to taunt him. He always kills me, but I don't mind. It's all part of the hunt. The cyber hunt. Steven has beaten a lot of bosses in this game, but he doesn't seem to enjoy it. He likes to open a chest and make a remark like, "Fuck yeah," every time he finds a robot part. But when he has to fight, he becomes very cross. He says the game is mostly boss fights with a bunch of lame filler. and that he does not enjoy trying 1,000 different builds just to find the stupid fucking thing to destroy generic gun robot number 4596. I told Steven he should take a walk, but he just keeps playing it. He's now made his way through several of his backup keyboards, even the mechanical one. Oh, no. I try to tell him that it's all part of the hunt, but Steven can't vibe. Please like and subscribe or I will not release another video. Now let's talk about the sound. The sound is very good. You can tell these guys have listened to a lot of robots because they really nailed what they would sound like if big. One of my favorite sounds is when you fire the 44-141 JVLN detonating bazooka, because it goes and then the game goes into slow motion like and you kill the guy. I also like the HG-003 Cocolette handgun for its staccato murder rhythm. And the PB-033M Ashmead pile bunker is great for those times you're feeling down and just want to go and kill pores with a spike. But I always tell Steven to use the VP-67EB stun baton because it's like a stick that goes and it's like a stick that stuns people. It's cool. Now on to the music. The music is very cyber, and each time Steven fights a boss, it makes me pump a fist. My wife says it makes her think of war, which I have to imagine is exactly what they intended. I often listen to the music when I'm mowing the lawn, which is great, because I can imagine the robots fighting. I hope my lawnmower never gets big. Now let's get the bad news out of the way. While you can shoot, dash, fly, and assault, you cannot transform, which is one of the main things that a robot does. You can put different parts on your robot, which some may say is technically transforming, but I could not turn Bloodsmear Goatsbane into a truck, nor 2017 Chevy Malibu. Some of the highways have cars on them, so this seems like a big oversight by the developers. One can hope that they will add this feature in an upcoming DLC, but until then, I am deducting 1 point from my score. Steven said he had to turn off all the voices because the acting is dog shit. But I think he's wrong.
And stitch that damn mouth of yours shut!
I think it's good to hear all the characters yelling. It lets you know that exciting things are going on. Like war. Now on to the graphics. They are good. As usual, if you would like to know my score for the game, please email me at my address. Steven says to say that I fucking hate this shit. I'm pretty sure I T-posed into a boss for 0 damage and died instantly. Now get the fuck out of my room. He gives it an 8 out of 10. Here is a drawing of Bloodsmear Goatsbane, which I hope the developers will consider adding as a playable character for all in an upcoming DLC. And now a word from our sponsor. Please don't forget how important it is to protect America's native prairie lands. Join me next time.